the problem with the media in this country. You see, Kaunda did not only damage the economy, he damaged your heads. And the potholes in your head, for them to be repaired, it will take another 27 years,
so
if
maybe,
not more.
Maybe the MMD government can send us to school.
No, we don't send you to school. We panel beat your heads. But now let me start. First of all, you are wrong, like anybody else, to say that the tender must be advertised.
Educate me, Honorable Minister.
2, you are wrong. You are right by saying you pick the best. Now, there are tender procedures. The tender procedure 1, there is a public tender, depending on the time you have. There is a selected tender. The tender board, the tender authority decides. And I would like you to go and tell the Weekly Post that councils in themselves, they are tender authorities. They don't get permission from the Central Tender Board. That's for the central government. Each local authority is a tender authority on its own.
So
2, now wait a minute, I'm trying.
You can get tender from your friend.
Now listen, doesn't matter. 2, they don't need to rely on those people who are registered by Public Works, as they put it in their paper. Now, how do you go to tender? You see, you don't even have dictionaries to understand the tender. The tender is, before you go to tender, as the tendering authority or the employer, you have your own estimates. And when you have your own estimates, you are going to accept tenders which you think are realistic and nearer to what your estimates are. And that's why on every tender, whether it be government, private, local government, there is a provision or a clause which says it is not necessary to accept the lowest tender. What I would like to remind my colleagues in the Post newspaper, they call others minions. I think there are more minions in the Post who would like to twist the facts. I take strong exception to the Post newspaper. Mr. Simon Zuka, Mr. Neil Simutani, and Professor Chance. For the whole of September, they have been campaigning for MMD. The Post has issued negative stories, negative editorials. They even come and reprint them. The Post continues to be giving false reports, false rumors. The Post is not part of the Economic Commission, the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Where did they get the results to say MMD is going to get up to 86? How did they get the information, apart from the information which was fed to them by MMD? And they go again lying, because any experienced politician in the United Kingdom, United States of America, in Europe, anywhere with an exception of China where there are no elections, all presidential aspiring candidates must consult the top civil servant, that's secretary to the cabinet. And for them to come and issue a statement to say, I forced my way. I don't know what Mr. Freddie Mendes is all up to. I don't need to force my way in secretary. I went there at the reception. I would like to see secretary to the cabinet. They cleared me. They escorted me. And I had a discussion with secretary to the cabinet. Because one, as a member of the public, as a Zambian, and that's our office. So for them to come and say such a post is this way. If I wanted to force my way, I would have forced my way in the State House. Why should I force my way in the cabinet to the office? And if you look there at their report, and you look at government paper, what we expect is the government paper to distort. But the government paper has been very fair. Very, very fair. Because, for example, Zambia Daily Mail has been very consistent. The Zambia Daily Mail has been very consistent. The Times of Zambia, for a change they have changed. They are putting that thing where they are saying MMD and PF in titles. But there we have our great Mr. Mende. The only reason why Mr. Freddie Mende is behaving that way, the only way why he's behaving that way, we know he's trying to protect Mr. Mtembo Nchito.
Where does Sylvia Masevo get the brains, if at all she has any, to say everybody, the whole Lusaka, 2 million people must all go to intercity. When Frederick Chilufya decided that he was going to bring our colleague, and me, I said, no, sir, there is no way I can work with this man because I know him. This man, he can't govern. He can't rule. He's incapable. He's politically impotent. Levy did not stand time in Levy was sleeping. Alekolome minkonono. Eri abakachiba musunka. Atipaya abantu abale konkonsha panse. Eri aisa chiri mukira. No rulenda rulepona. Amleta ku State House. Nemishi afulungana. Ati niwe president. Apa kwambila pavula. The man surprises me. The man confuses me. But I sympathize with him when he went to India, when he was recently treated in India. There is something which the Indians failed because his brain and his mouth, they don't coordinate.
Basa Panji, Musakala nae Panji 5 years as a office mwanga. Izambo kumana nae mu nyumba ya mala muno kwa sila. But kuloba mu office mwanga sanga lobe mu habere sandale. Nifuna wose ali pano. Ajiuzeko ni upando wanji wamene Panji Kaunda anaye mapo kuimira abantu muna muziko la Zambia. Muntu wamene alibe mutundu, si mutundu wa Chichewa, si mutundu wa Chinsenga, si mutundu wa Chivemba, angasile mwambo wa Chivemba. Manje usogolera Panji auchosapati. Usogolera auchosapati chifuka sana kalepa section. Sana kalepa blanje. Sana kalepa awodi. Muchichewa kudi. Chibaka chalepera tate nkuku singa chimeze. Usogoleri si ufumu. Usogoleri si ufumu. Yakuti mwana achokapo, tate achokapo, tulikepo mwana ai. Nga Panji ajaola kale bwana mudala nga kwalisa uyu mkazu. Kuabore sa wonsi pano pa platform. Azawawe ni sati bwana machitako chani kuno kuchotisa 27 years.
Not bloody lost, so don't waste my time. I have not lost. How do I accept the word I have not lost? Those figures were not there in 2006.
So what are you going to do now?
But you are the reporter, ask them.
No, I'm asking you,
you are the bloody reporter, ask them. You are the so-called reporter, wasting taxpayers' money here. And you have got these inflated figures on which they say they are closing in.
Have you spoken to them about these figures then?
I'm giving to you. Go and speak to them. I'm hunting for them. They have run away.
What if you don't find them?
Go and find them. You are a reporter. That's your job. This bloody BBC, this is not Zimbabwe. This is what Dan Kalale, Venon Mwanga, and Bitachitala can do. And they expect that BBC comes to me. What do you do? They think I'm in Zimbabwe.
I was a rebel, proper rebel, not like him. And he said, Mike, I'm growing old. I have to retire from accountancy. I'm going to buy a farm. I just looked at him. And then because he was living in Kavulonga Road, he had a beautiful house. And then he found this place. I don't know whether he used corruption or what. This place was too big. He brought me here. The first thing he did here, without building a house or a toilet, was to put an airstrip. Because one thing which I had forgotten to tell you, this man who is here is the first person who taught me to lift an aeroplane and bring it down.
Political rallies were no exception.
imwe Bwana